I won't make it easy for you now. You got 2 minutes of my time, and I don't really break too easily, but I'm worth it, 'cause I'll slip into your dreams tonight. Oh, so give me your all. I'll take it to Mars. Oh, I'll stick like glue inside your mind. Just watch me breaking your sweat. You're falling into me, touch me. I swear you would do anything that I want, so keep us awake till the dawn. Baby, feel free. I wanna make you sweat on me. I wanna make you sweat on me. I got you wrapped around my finger, but don't you try to call me tomorrow. There's nothing personal in having a little fun. You wait and see if it's worth your while. So give me your all. I'll take it to Mars. Oh, I'll stick like glue inside your mind. Just watch me breaking your sweat. You're falling into me, touch me. I swear you would do anything that I want, so keep us awake till the dawn. Baby, feel free. I wanna make you sweat on me.
And there we go. What up, Marisha? Thank you so much for watching. So as always, before I introduce this girl next to me, because you're probably like, who is this girl? What's happening? Okay, so as always, I need to make sure I set everything up correctly. If you can hear me, answer this question. Where are you watching from? What state are you in? I would definitely love to know. Please type it in the comments below so I can make sure that you can hear me, because it would be super embarrassing if my mouth was moving and you couldn't hear me. What up, Kalisha? I love you too. Also, okay, so I'm gonna bring those pillows up here in a second. Yes. So today's the day. Today is the day that I have been teasing for like 3 months now. Sorry it took so long, but I had to take my time in the process of creating the Single You collection, which is my home decor throw pillow collection for you. I want you to think of them as affirmations, but instead of on a Post-it note, it's on a pillow, okay? Right. Yes, yeah, there you go. And I would love for my pillows to be in your house. So you can buy those pillows at single-u.com/pillows. And we're gonna get into all of that. And we have a wonderful conversation coming up with 5 of my very good friends, 2 who are becoming my very good friends, 3 of them already my very good friends. And we're gonna have a conversation about being a successful single woman, how we feel about singleness, all around. Singleness is not a punishment, and you are worthy regardless of your relationship status. So here's the deal. I'm going to introduce them one by one. Sitting on my right, I don't know what it looks like for you watching on Facebook, but maybe it's the left, I don't know. But I'm pointing to my right. This is my right hand. This is my best friend, 𝙤𝙬 Rose. And Des is like, dude, you have seen the growth of my business, what I've wanted to do. It makes me kind of like tear up, because you have been here literally since the beginning, when I was like, I'm going through this thing. My life sucks right now. I think I got abused. And you were there for me and helped me definitely walk through that. I mean, we've had so many conversations about,
because I was like on my singleness journey, and then and then we were both on it together. Yeah. It was so much fun.
And I would say, like,
well, fun,
right? I was scary. Right. It sucked, but it did form like a bond that I'm like, this is my ride or die. Like, come for Des. Okay, good luck. Versa, yeah. Exactly, good luck. So 𝙤𝙬 Rose, thank you for being here. And now, one by one, I'm going to bring into the room. First, we'll start with Adriana. Adriana was just on Single You, the podcast, about 3 weeks ago. She is the author of I Am All Right With Me, and she's the founder of Actually I Can, a digital platform emphasizing the importance of self-care and mental health. Adriana devotes her time to ending the stigma of mental health and start the conversation about suicide, depression, self-esteem, and self-love. Adriana, yay! All right. And obviously we're going to hear from everybody here in a second, but I just want to bring everybody into the room. Next, we're going to go with a Howard Bison who graduated from the Howard University, excuse me, the Mecca. She is from 𝙮𝙤𝙪'𝙧𝙚. Her name is Carla Thomas. Fly Carla is her name on Instagram and Twitter. She is a writer, a stylist, a TV host. Carla is a multimedia creative hailing from Baltimore, like I just said, and of course, graduated and cultivated at the Howard University. Yay! All right, and now let's get into Cameo, who also graduated from the Howard University. She is the host of the Good Girl podcast, and she is all about holding space for women. And she allows women to go on her podcast, the Good Girl podcast, and men this season to confess, because we all have some confessions. Welcome, Miss Cameo King, to the room. Yay! All right, and last but not least, she is becoming a good friend. I actually met her. We were on the same stage when we spoke at Dietrich Haddix's church in California. We were on a platform like this, so we didn't go to California. I wish, but that's how we met. And I was like, I need to know you. You're dope. So Tatiana Green is a speaker and a multimedia content creator with a passion for writing. In 2012, she launched her blog, blissforsingles.com, to encourage millennial singles in faith and love. And in 2016, Tatiana published her first book, Journey to 30, a single woman's guide to living unapologetically without deadlines as she embraces her 30s. Tatiana plays and lives unapologetically for Christ in South Florida. And let's bring Tatiana to the room. Yay! And so during the show today, we'll have everybody's mics off as one person, one mic, only because the feedback gets a little crazy when you have this many people on StreamYard. So the first thing I want to do is hold up everybody's pillows. Tatiana, I know you didn't get your pillow yet, but yay, right, you can, exactly. So now I want to go around the room and ask each of you, why did you choose that pillow? And Adriana, we will start for you, with you, and I will take your mic off right now. First of all, thank you for being here, Adriana.
Of course, you start with me. So I chose this pillow because it resonated so much. As you discussed, I'm really big into just healing and finding that inner worth. And so, especially when it says, do not do all that healing, like don't go to therapy, do those solo trips, do that journaling, peeling back to go back to another broken man. No, ma'am. So I loved this pillow. It was literally me and a pillow. So of course I had to select this one.
Can you read it real quick?
Yeah, so it says, sis, do not do all that healing just to date another broken man.
Yes.
Love it. Love it. All right. Now, yeah, we may have to get into your skydiving that you did, Adriana. All right. Fly Carla, thank you for
I love her name, Fly Carla.
I know, right? Cool. I know, right? Here, I will take you off of mute. There we go.
Can you see it? I can never tell. Hey. So, okay, mine also says, sis, I never know where to look. Like, what am I looking at? Sis, don't do all that healing just to date another broken man. I wanted this pillow because my empathy levels is so high, and sometimes it gets me in trouble. Like, I am always like empathetic. I want to see the good, I want to sympathize. But honestly, like, I'm not a therapist. So I did not go to school for psychology. So I was like, I have to always tell myself that I want and I deserve a whole and healthy, mentally healthy man. So I was like, I need to always see that. Like, I am not a therapist. I cannot help you. I can support you, but I can't do it all. And so I wanted this pillow.
Right. And I always say leave the changing of people up to God. Like,
yes,
God wants you to change, that's between him and God. It ain't got nothing to do with me. If you need some more help in your life and healing, peace out.
Yeah, I I feel like sometimes a lot of men just they love to dump like their emotional baggage onto women. And like they have been saying there are studies within this pandemic that men have realized that they don't even have any male friends to reach out to. And so that's why like a lot of guys like hitting me up. I'm like, like you just say right there, you gotta stay quarantined, homeboy. I am not the one.
Exactly.
So that is this pillow definitely resonated with me.
I love it. All right, Tatiana, do you remember which pillow I ordered for you?
Yeah, I got the happiness over history pillow. I thought that was so cool because oftentimes, yes, that's it. That's the one. Yeah, oftentimes, I don't know, that one just stuck out to me because like oftentimes we stay in situations longer than we need to. And I kind of saw it not just in romantic relationships, but in friendships, in seasons that we thought we were supposed to be happy in. Sometimes you just gotta go because God said, go ahead and go. There's something better in the next one. So I really like that one.
Love it. And, I felt, so I got that quote actually from a cousin of mine, and I'm not going to put her business out there, but we as women, because either we have a child with him or we've been with him since, Carla, you and your ex, college, we think, but I have so much history with him. I hear that excuse a lot. So they think, oh, I should stay. That means I should stay because, I even had one girl that was in my DM. She said, yeah, but everybody always says, relationships don't last like they used to. And I'm just like, okay, there's so many layers we could talk about that with. But also, if this isn't making you happy, why is that the reason why you stay? Because society tells you relationships don't last like they used to.
Yeah, and like who's saying that?
Yeah, who is they?
Yeah.
And also, we talked about this on Anthony Does a Podcast about how back in the day we had to be married to men. So that's why, honestly, a lot of relationships with the baby boomers and previous,
we were treated like cattle. So
we had to have a husband, have a credit card, and a house. Yeah. So all right, and then last but not least, Cameo, what pillow did you choose and why? Oh, I will take you off of mute.
Yes.
Yep. Oh, wait, hold on. You're muted.
Because I muted myself. Because I muted. I'm sorry. Because I just be doing too much. But I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Rika. Excited to be in this pillow party with everyone. But I chose the one you guys are just talking about, happiness over history. And I chose that because I've really been on this journey. It was a happiness over, and you can insert anything right there. But I'm really been on this journey of focusing on my own happiness, focusing on my own joy. And so whatever space I come into, whether it is a platonic relationship, whether it is, just friendship, that I am the holder and I am responsible for my own joy and my happiness. That's the thing that drew me here. Because I think a lot of times in our relationships, there's an expectation that this person is going to, take us to another level that we never experienced. I think that is something that can happen, but for them to be solely, like, they need something to start with. And so if I'm not happy or if I'm not full of joy, what am I contributing to this space? So that's why I chose happiness over history.
Yeah, and honestly, so Cameo was also on Single You, the podcast, and your episode is titled, Can You Only Find True Joy in Relationships? And we had that conversation because that's what society will make you think. You are single, therefore you are missing out on this joy that exists only if you're in a relationship. And it's like, no, like that can be a joy. What my parents have is beautiful and that's great. But that doesn't mean I am less happy or my life will suck or be less than people who are married even if they're happily married or not. Like, no, life is life, and we get to choose and design it. And so, Des, what pillow did you choose? And then I will show mine.
I chose this one too.
Yeah.
Because well, like I'm in a relationship now, so I felt weird about having single stuff all over the house. But also because I am like similar to I think it was Tatiana who said that, like, you know, it's not just about men. It's like every relationship I had in my life from 24 and before. And I felt like it was like this constant, like, well, we have history, so I deserve all your happiness kind of thing. Like, and that's just like not cool. I don't know. I like being happy, and I don't think just because we have history means that you deserve something from me, you know, like I deserve to be happy too. Just because we have some history together doesn't mean you're entitled. Like trash. You're entitled to my happiness and my joy,
or even entitled to you. Like, again, because a lot of people use, and that's why I have the pillow, because a lot of people use that excuse. They use that history excuse. Well, this means we have to be together.
Yeah, they beat you over the head with it. Like,
yeah. So obviously I have all the pillows, but I am going to highlight this one right now. Singleness is not a punishment, because it is definitely my tagline, as well as happily single. It's obviously in a lot of my branding and things that I say, because again, as we were just saying, you can be happy and single and still desire a husband as well, or not. Carla was on Single You, the podcast. Your episodes dropped tomorrow, but you were live last week here on Facebook. And we talked about that. Like, I can be happy single. And I remember coming up with this because a lot of people think that just because you're single, it means you're lonely or sad or depressed. You cry yourself into a pillow at night because you don't have a warm body to sleep next to. And I'm always like, listen, I would rather have moments of feeling lonely than be in a relationship and be lonely and feel like those have been all my relationships in the past. I've never had a relationship that was healthy ever. So that is why I put that on the pillow, as well as singleness is not a punishment, because again, I heard a caller this morning when I was listening to, I don't know what radio show it was, but she was saying how she just couldn't understand why she was 32, had a good job, this and that. And she was still so sad and hurt that she didn't have a man, and she felt like it was a punishment. And I'm just like, listen, people, do you know how hard it is to find a love of your life? It's hard. That's a hard thing to do. So it's not like men are just dropping out of the sky for every other woman but you. So I want to get us out of that space. Now, Cameo, on the back of the pillow, did you look up the scripture? Yeah, okay, unmute yourself.
I did. I did. Listen, I just be trying to be safe over here, but I did look it up.
Okay. And what did it say? Remember?
I don't, should I paraphrase? So basically, it's better to be single, by the Apostle Paul, by the one of the main writers in the Bible.
Yeah, look what you have time to do when you're single. You can write a Bible. Like.
Exactly. Right. And the reason why, which by the way, if you're just tuning in, welcome to my Single You pillow collection launch party. It's a pillow party right now. And we were just talking about the pillows, and of course we're going to get into a discussion as well. But the reason why I put the scripture on the back, I actually got that idea from Forever 21. Because if you go shopping at Forever 21, if you look at the bottom of the bags, they have John 3:16. And I always thought that was dope. Forever 21 was like, wink, we Christian, y'all. Just so you, wink. And I wanted women to get that wink from me, but also to know where my heart was coming from. I'm not a man hater. I'm not telling you that single is the only way. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, I believe that society, the church, whoever we want to blame it on, does not tell both sides of the story, where Paul does in that scripture. And in the whole 1 Corinthians chapter 7, he talks about, listen, it's great to be married. And if you have that fire, he calls it a burning inside you, you might want to get married. But if you don't, it's cool. There's beauty in marriage and single. And I just don't feel like both sides of the story is ever told. It's like the goal in life, get married and have kids. Good luck. And then we're just stuck here feeling like singleness is not a punishment because we didn't get this goal. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for being here. I want to talk about some of the things that I have either read on your blog, seen on your Instagram, you've said to me in conversation, and I want to go deeper because all of y'all are dope. This girl, all y'all in conversation when we're talking, I'm like, women need to hear this stuff. This is the stuff. This is the stuff. So Cameo, we're going to talk with you first. I remember one time you told me in conversation, because I had this girl, actually, I think she was trying to sneak diss me. And she yeah, exactly. Showtime is like, what? Yeah, girl, listen. She put a comment on one of my Instagram posts and she said, something about, I like your message, but I need to know if you've ever had a successful relationship because I only like to be coached by people who've had successful relationships. And because I have Jesus in my heart, I just said, I don't really understand your question. If you have one, please send me a DM or something like that. I was really nice to her. But when I sent it to Cameo and Carla, because we're in a group chat, Cameo said, I just feel like people, I mean, there was a lot that you said and we're going to go into it. But the gist of it was, she goes, I'm not really sure what she was trying to say, but I feel like people don't understand that you can have an unsuccessful single life like you can have an unsuccessful relationship. Nor am I a dating coach, by the way. I'm a boundaries coach and a self-love coach. So I'm not sure why I need to have a successful relationship for me to be able to get a transformation out of you. So Cameo, do you remember that comment? And what did you mean by that?
I do remember that comment clear as day, because even when I read it, I said, "Oh, that's good." but a part of it, just came from me knowing that, first of all, Rika, your intent is pure. To sincerely transform the hearts, to sincerely instill, these values that our identity isn't wrapped up in a man, isn't wrapped up in a relationship. It's really not wrapped up in anything other than, for us, for believers, wrapped up in Christ, And so when I think about, what does it mean to be like, how did I get to where I am, and how did I get to experience joy? Because I also know I haven't experienced joy. I also know that there were parts of my evolution, and I'm glad that I have evolved. But if I was still there, I really believe that I would be squandering my time as a single person. Because if suppose I'm going to get married in 6 months, there will be things that I cannot do, because I am, my time is occupied otherwise, that I could have done when I'm single. Or there are things that would contribute to my relationship that I developed as a single person, right? And even there are so many single people who never get married, who are beautiful, who are glorious, who contribute wildly to this society. And my thing is that they had to grow, they had to transform, they had to evolve. And if you think that you can, like, you're just in a sense at this base level until you get married, that's a complete lie. Like, you're lying to yourself. And even if you do believe that was true, so even if we say we followed that logic, if you're here your whole life and you get married, like, you're going to stay there. You're still not contributing anything to that relationship, anything. So, because two parts make up that whole. And so if you're a crappy person by yourself, you're going to be a crappy person married, right? If you aren't joy, if you're not full of joy, as like, nothing happens when you say I do that magically turns you into this person. And I think society has told us that. But it's just not true. I've heard that from so many married people, that I thought all this was going to happen, but the work is still on me. Like, the work is still on you to heal from some of your trauma. The work is still on you to discover your purpose, to work in your business. The work is still it's still on you. It really doesn't shift.
So I got asked, whose podcast was I on? I was just on somebody's podcast and I don't remember. But anyway, she asked me, do you think you are truly happy single? And do you desire a husband? And I said, maybe about desiring a husband. But I said, yes, I'm happily single and I know it because I don't think about it anymore. I'm no longer like, where is my Boaz? Where is whatever? And I believe that I filled it now with this. This is my purpose now. I believe that what I went through was because of this. And I truly believe that I'm walking out God's purpose for me now. And I know my cousin Linnea, she said that to me one time. She was like, girl, you had a need. You filled it with your purpose. And now look at you. Now you're just coasting. And this is where I want to be. So if God's will for my life is to have my Boaz or whatever, like you said, I will be happy and he will be happy and we're going to be happy together. I'm no longer like, well, I need that guy to start whatever life I'm supposed to have that people say you get after you get married and have kids.
Yeah,
so
it's so.
Mhm.
I
Go
was
ahead.
going to say it's so interesting that you share that in terms of, are you sincerely happy? Because I think the question, hopefully, that she was trying to ask, like, how do you know that you're really happy? And even for myself, Rika, and I think you asked me this before, is like, I sincerely enjoy myself. Like I really, I really do enjoy like, if it was a camera in my apartment, y'all probably like, what is wrong with this girl? Like literally, I have fun by listen, don't let a Howard band song come on. It's just it's like I sincerely enjoy myself. I find the things that I love to enjoy. That doesn't say I don't want to enjoy it with someone else, but this is where we are. I have fun. I'm good.
Exactly. All right. Did anybody else want to speak on that comment? Otherwise, we'll move on to what Carla said to me once. But anybody else want to speak on that, Des? Or
I just love everything that she said.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, queen.
Yes.
I've been there. I was fine with being single for the rest of my life rather than be in a crap relationship.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I like me,
Yeah.
more than I like some other people,
Right, right,
So
exactly. All right. And single is an option too. And for those of you watching, if you have a question, go ahead and type it in the comment section. Are you enjoying this conversation? I would love to know. And my pillows are on sale. So the website is scrolling at the bottom. They are on sale for you to buy. Support me. I'm a Black woman. I'm a small business owner.
And I just gotta say, I love this idea because you and I have been putting sticky notes all over our house for affirmations. Like, why did we never think of this before? This is perfect. Exactly.
So, all right. Actually, before I go to Carla, let's go to Tatiana. I want to mix it up because I'm like, Howard. Okay, let's do Tatiana. You said that I was reading, I sent you a questionnaire because you're actually going to be on a solo episode of Single You, the podcast. It'll be you and I. And you said that being single can be a blessing if you have the right perspective. What perspective do we need to have? What did you mean by that when you said that?
Thanks for having me, Rika. I love that. And I talk about it a lot on Bliss for Singles. I think it came from a personal experience, and it also kind of touches into what Paul was saying in the verse that you shared, right? Because it's like, if you have a God perspective, or if you allow God to shift your perspective from a place of brokenness, a place of desperation, to a new perspective, like the one he wants to give you, one that has peace, one that has a little more understanding, a little more nuance as to where you personally are instead of what you think you're supposed to be in your timeline of life. God is inviting us to let go of those old mindsets as we become new creations in him in the seasons that we're in, right? So it's like, you can grow up with the fairy tale mindset, and you can be heartbroken, and you can have all this wrong perspective because maybe society taught you, maybe you learned on your own, maybe your parents set you up for the okie doke. We don't know. But when you meet God, and God's like, look, daughter, I have more for you than what you think marriage is. Let's not put God in a box, Because some of us, even believers who may have a healthy relationship with him or even a healthy understanding of what marriage is, we still, as human beings, go into marriage with some expectations. And so God is like, I need you to think a little bigger because my thoughts are bigger than your thoughts. He will download some stuff into us to get us to think soberly about it, to help us to go into it with a wholeness mindset instead of I'm only half because I don't have my other half, like society has taught us so many times. And so
people
looking at it.
Yeah, I feel like people misunderstand because the Bible talks about how he took a rib from Adam and created woman or whatever. And so everybody, I've heard people say that before, and I used to believe that too, is, oh, I'm just looking for my other rib, aka other half, as if we're half. But we're whole. We're whole already.
We're whole already.
Yeah, and I loved how you said getting rid of the fantasy, because we have that a lot, whether it be from Disney or not. So I know a little bit of this answer already, but I would just love to ask you here on the live, had anybody had a conversation with you, even though you grew up in the church, just like me, had anybody ever had a conversation with you about what makes a healthy relationship versus an unhealthy relationship?
Let's see. I think answering your question and going off of what I remember, I definitely saw some unhealthy relationship dynamics in my household. Like growing up as a child, like obviously my parents fight and they ultimately divorced. There was a lot of turmoil in that, but it took me a while, like well after like after 18, to learn some healthier habits, healthier examples of what marriage looked like. And so when I look for either marriage examples or marriage mentors, I look at the little things, the little details. Like, for example, my pastors here in Miramar, Florida at Cool Church, woo woo. One of the things that attracted me to that church is that they, as a couple, honor each other. And so that really drew me because honor is so important to God, and he emphasizes that in our everyday relationships, and especially marriage. And sometimes people in relationships take advantage of each other. So the honor factor is huge. So I look for that. Now I look for other things too that relate to like the fruits of the spirit and practical, healthy, dynamic stuff.
Girl, the honor thing, it reminded me of the scripture where it says, outdo each other with love. Like I want to be in competition with my husband. Like I bet you I'm better today than you could love me. Like that's what God wants to do. Like I have this healthy, fun, childlike competition in the marriage. So
yeah. One more thing I forgot to add.
Nope, go ahead, girl, it's your world.
And just with this part to answer those two questions, just that idea that love is supposed to be hard and love's supposed to be a struggle, especially for certain communities, especially for women. We're kind of taught to believe that we have to endure more than we should. And I know we're going to talk about that. But I'm just like, this generation of women, we're kind of fed up. And I think that's one reason why there's so many single women, because we're not tolerating the mess that we've seen and we're not sticking around anymore. And so these pillows are very timely to keep us in remembrance of what we said we weren't going to deal with anymore. It's canceled. You know what I'm saying? Like we're canceling the dysfunction that we may have saw or may have experienced in our own relationships, and we're willing to wait for something better, something healthier, something that's aligned with God's will for us.
Listen, I wish I would have made this event 3 hours because I mean, yes, we, as in Cameo and I, Carla, and even Des, we talk about that all the time, and that is my, I would say, one of the things that I drill in the most in my coaching program, Single You Academy. Like, just because society and rappers and their little girlfriends are presenting to you that you must be this ride or die chick does not mean that that's the way that it goes. There is an option of a healthy relationship.
I literally had this conversation with my boyfriend today where he was like, you know, I said, you're not being very supportive right now. And he's like, I can't believe you'd say that. I've been so supportive. I'm like, yes, you have been so supportive. Today, you're not. And just because you've been supportive doesn't mean that today you get a free pass and you get to say, you know, whatever you want to say. That standard is still the this is the least I will accept. So you dip below, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to check you because I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
You know?
So I remember, and in fact, we'll just go to Des next. You said so many things to me, and what I wrote down is the greatest lie told to women is that you have to be dating when you're single. But before you even get to that, I remember when Des, one time, I wonder if you remember this, you said to me, imagine a world where women hold their standards so high, essentially raising up a whole generation. Wouldn't that be nice?
We have
Listen!
the power.
I'm going to bed.
All of it.
I'm going to bed. That's it. If we did that, do you remember saying that?
I
And what
like
did you
if
think?
if we set the standard of what we will accept, like all of us together is when we're like, you know what, screw this. This is where the bar is. Like all of the guys that don't want to meet that, they'll just die alone. And then the rest of them will have to like raise up to that level, and we get to like, you know, let's just take over the White House. Let's, you know, let's do it. Like, why not?
Because one of the truest thing is you teach people how to treat you.
You do. You
And,
don't get,
yeah.
we just talked about this. You
Yeah.
don't get what you deserve. You get what you accept, which is like, that was the other big lie we've been told. Oh, you get what you get, or like you get what you know, the golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated. That's just a great way to be a doormat. I mean, you're not going to get what you deserve. You're going to get whatever you accept.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, shout out to Dominica. Shout out to Victoria. I'm so glad you're watching. Also, let's see, my friend Kiera, she goes, you're at a different place now. A place of peace. Love it. And Dwayne, my cousin, says, excellent point, Tatiana. Love is not supposed to be hurt. Biggest misconception. Exactly. So if you're just tuning in, we're having my launch party for my pillows. They are out here. Tatiana's is on the way because I got
She's dancing.
Right. All of my girls got theirs, but Tatiana's is running a little late, but that's okay. It's on the way. These pillows are for purchase. This is part of my brand now. So if you would love to have these affirmations as you're walking around your house, put them on, obviously on your bed, your couch, consider me your homegirl in your head. So when your ex texts you and you look at this pillow, you're gonna be like, what would Rika do? Oh, she would tell me not to answer, so let me not respond. So there we go. All right, so I want to get to Carla, and then if we have time, we'll come back to your other comment. But Carla, I remember one time, I think we were in a Clubhouse chat, and you said something, I was like, she's so right, it is. You said that being single is so loud and you wish that it wasn't. Do you remember saying that? And then what did you mean by that? Oh, you are muted, so let me unmute you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I do remember saying that, and just everything in society just lets us know that we're single, right? Like even the government, like with our stimulus checks, you know, like you're getting more money if you're married and you have kids. And it's like, but single people need money too. Like, why don't I need my coins too? You know, or even like, I was at like the gynecologist and she's like, are you single? When's the last time you had sex? I'm like, girl, this is a lot going on. I'm gonna tell you, you my gynecologist, but I'm just saying, like, it's literally just everywhere in everything that you do. And if you're struggling in your season of singleness, then I think it definitely can be way too loud, right? Because you're always hearing it, and like you're applying for a job, you know, like just everything, applying for insurance, like it's just everything. And then if you run into an old friend, if someone's looking at your Facebook page or Instagram page, they're like, oh, they still single, you know, like. It is literally just embedded in our society. And I feel like if you're not if you have not reached that point of happiness and contentment and joy, then it could be very loud and too loud, and you're going to always hear it.
Yeah. So how do you handle, because I know that this has happened to you a couple of times, and I'm sure that it happens to a lot of us, maybe not during COVID because we've had time to ourselves, but when we go to the family barbecue, when we go to our parents, when we see our old home, the question, I know Tatiana, like, I know the question. The question they all ask us is, where's your man, kids, what have you? Does that happen to you, and how do you respond?
Yeah, I check everybody. Like, I'm over it, because at this point I am good and grown, like, would I have checked you like a couple of years ago? Like, no, but at 35, about to be 36, it's like, mind your business. Like, ask me anything else. Like, I will go home and like my father will say something, I'm like, I'll check him too. Like, like, ask me anything else about what I got going on, how I'm doing, how I am literally feeling, as opposed to like, where's your boyfriend? Or like, my father likes to always reference an old college boyfriend. I had to check him on that too. Like, look, you need to leave him alone. Like, you need to let that go. That has been years ago. I'm like, there's nothing about him that means or makes him my man moving forward. So, I think you have to literally just let people know to mind their business. It's boundaries, and just ask women. Women are so multifaceted. Like, ask me anything else about what's going on in my life, as opposed to like, do you have a man? Like, do you have kids? I think asking, do you have kids, is very personal. Like, you don't know my reproductive health. Like, why are you over here asking me? I could be struggling over here trying to have a baby. Like, you don't know that. It's just so personal. Like, when I pop up pregnant, then you can ask me.
It's so funny you say that. One of my, I'm gonna mute you real quick. One of my friends, she, I guess, felt the need to apologize. She had never asked me this, but she said, because of me, she stopped asking her nieces about that. She's like, you're so right. Every time I see them, that's like the first question, because she's married. She has 4 kids. And she's been married, especially in this community. Desiree knows, everybody gets married at like freaking 18, right after 17. Right after they walk across that stage. It's marriage central for them.
And they're a lot, like, a huge abstinence based, like, so everyone gets married, like.
Yeah. A lot of toxic purity culture going on here in this community. But yeah, so she and I was like, listen, whoever gets my message and it brings change, I love it. Cause I'm like, yeah, you're going to, unfortunately, we just in the past would take it.
Well, and it drives people into like bad relationships because that puts that sense of urgency. Yeah. Like, I got to do it right now.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So, Adriana, last but not least, and then of course we have more in the conversation, but you, I remember in our discussion, you said, and I picked this one intentionally, is that the word? With intention, whatever, because this is all of us, I feel like. And so all of you will probably have something to say about this one, but you said when you were younger, you learned about relationships, dating, marriage by watching movies and TV shows. Yeah, do you remember that comment? And what do you mean by that? What did you learn from TV that love was supposed to be? I will unmute you, and there you go.
Unfortunately, I do remember that comment. You had to bring that up. But I mean, I grew up watching Disney, of course. So I loved Cinderella and Pocahontas. And so I had this unrealistic reality that some man was going to swoop in and he was going to save me from my ugly stepsisters and like save me from this spell of life, and he's going to put the glass slipper on. He was just going to take me away and we were going to live happily ever after. So that was my unrealistic reality. So Disney, we need to talk, because listen, that's not reality, and there's nothing wrong with my life, or I do not need saving. But yeah, that was certainly where the first idea of love and marriage came from. Was I thought that I was Cinderella. Prefer the Brandy one, actually.
Okay. Well,
Those are
yes,
my favorite ones.
right, exactly. And that is so true because in movies, they show this is the formula for like movies, romantic comedies. It's you two somehow meet, whether it's because you drop your post-it note and you pick it up and he's picking it up at the same time. You guys meet, lock eyes, all of these emotions happen, you start dating. Then somehow the guy always F's up in some way. Then to get her back, to woo her back, there's this big gesture, dancing in Times Square for you in a flash mob or whatever. And then she forgives him and it's happily ever after. Am I right? Is that not the formula?
You know which one like always stuck with me? Like I'd always pick it up in movies and I thought it was normal. Is that like hating the guy that you end up with is normal. Like when you first meet them, like you hate them, and then they change, and now like you changed them, and now they're this good guy all of a sudden that they were never good before you. Yeah, and so that stuck with me. I don't know. I felt like that was like in a lot of movies where it's like, oh, we hate each other. Oh, yeah, we love each other.
That is where I think we all got the idea that we could change him. Because you're right. It's like, oh, I hate this guy. And now he becomes a guy who really likes, he's into books or something. And now we're together. So that's that. And again, that's where, and we're already nurturers. So it just taps into that part of us where we're like, oh, he'll change for me. I'm the one. I'm the one.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to go around the room again. Kamara says, sorry, you guys, that was a lie. Adriana, but yes, definitely a lie. Okay. So this is a comment, and whoever wants to go first can go first. This was a comment that one of my cousins posted. And I had to slap myself in the face. I said, well, I'll be damned. Like, this is so true, especially for me, who I was in 2017 and pre. And I think, Cameo, you know, well, I sent you guys the email. But the quote is, you literally don't have to lie to women. If she likes you enough, she will lie to herself.
Who child?
That one.
Slap yourself. Because I was like, right, like, I was like, oh my God, they cracked the code. They know us, and this is why they're allowed to play us. So I want to hear what comes up for you when I say that. Des, we'll start with you. What comes up when I say that? Do you feel like that statement is true?
Yeah, I don't know, I'm like naturally optimistic, so I always do that. But my boyfriend is like a former F-boy.
Yes.
And so I'm constantly asking him like into his psyche of like, why would you do these things or whatever? And he's like, you know, yeah, if a girl is desperate enough, she will do anything to make it work. So you can tell her straight up, like, I don't want a relationship, I just want to do diddle bits. And she'll be like, yeah, of course. You know, so yes. There's so much truth. I feel like y'all have some juicy like thoughts on this. I want to hear everybody else.
I know. So Adriana, I feel like you chomped at the bits, and then Cameo, because I know that Cameo, you saw me tweet this, and Cameo was like, what? This is so
in the heart.
I know. Adriana, you can go ahead and go first. What comes up for you? If you're just tuning in, the quote that we're talking about is, you literally don't have to lie to women. If she likes you enough, she will lie to herself. Adriana.
I just feel like that you didn't have to yell. That was really hurtful. You could have like told me that personally. You didn't have to tell me, you know, in front of everyone. So, but no, like that. Wow. Like when you said it, I took a big gulp because it's very true, you know, and it's not only she'll lie to herself, but you know, unfortunately, we don't believe that we are worthy of respect. We are worthy of we don't believe we're worthy. And so that lie just comes from us just not believing in ourselves, us not having that own self-worth. And so, yeah, I just, that quote really took me out. I'm going to have to post that on my wall somewhere. But yeah, it definitely resonated with me. It's 110% truthful. I can't tell you how many times that I've lied to myself when I was told the truth. You know, he, like she said, he told the truth. He didn't want a relationship. You know, he didn't see this going anywhere. And even the things that he didn't quote unquote say, he didn't answer the phone. He didn't call back. You know, those are all things that he didn't say, but he said it. And so I was told the truth, and it was up to me to, you know, like you always say, when a person shows you who they are, believe them. And so they're showing you who they are. They're showing you all these red flags, and you're just like, I'll take that red flag and that one and that one and that one. And it's just like,
because again, because it goes back to, well, I think I can change him though.
Well, and we've been told since we were like babies, like, oh, if he kicks you in the shin, it means if he says he doesn't like you, he actually really does.
Yeah.
If he's mean to you, he actually loves you. Like, oh, you're so cute. He's picking on you. He must like you.
That grooming that we get at 5 and 6 and 7 when we come home or come inside from recess. And yeah, that is the message that we get. So Cameo. Girl.
Yeah. When I saw it, I said, "Ooh, that's what that ooh was." It was ooh. It was like one of those ooh, because it did hit you. It did hit you in a certain type of way. And I think honestly, the reason. So I do think it's true. I also think it goes both ways. Same thing when a guy really likes you, he'll take it. He'll take a lot of mess. However, I think for women, it hits different. Because we are, just like you said, we're groomed for certain things. We're groomed for this idea. I call it the beauty and the beast, that because I'm so gentle, because I'm so kind, he's going to unpack and unfold from this beast into this charming prince just for me. So I stay there and I'll put love in quotes, and I love him through it. Right. And these stories are also very much lifted in media, you know, in blogs and articles, but also in our entertainment that I stuck, like, what is it? Bridgerton, that I think everybody watched. That's still kind of like the Beauty and the Beast story, right? Because she stuck around when this guy essentially treated her like crap, you know? But we all fell in love with it because the brother was fine. Brother was fine, you know?
He is fine. But that's another thing. He is fine, we will put up with it more, right? Like, I truly believe what I experienced with my abusive ex, I would have cut it off in 2 weeks, 2 months, if he was not as fine as this guy was.
The hot ones are harder. So, like, they are used to like having like being held to very low standards.
Yeah.
So like they're the hardest ones to like, they got to get there on their own.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it is just, there's so many examples. And if you're watching and you ever listen to my podcast, Single You, the podcast, I mean, I just talked about me. And I think I even said this, shout out to Zuri Hall. I was just on her podcast, Hot Happy Mess. And she was not dumbfounded in judgment. She understood, but she was just like, wow, the things we do to try to keep a man, because she was there as well. But I remember I went down to Atlanta to visit him, and long story short, he worked at a bar. And when I would go to Atlanta, I realize now in retrospect, I have best friends who live in Atlanta, some who went to Howard, and I would never call them. And in retrospect, I know it was because I was embarrassed about my relationship. But anyway, so I went to go hang out with him at the bar. And this Negro, listen, he asked me to sit at the bar so he could watch me, because he was a security guard at the bar, and he wanted to watch me to see how I turned down men. And I did it because I thought, so here's the lie that I was telling myself. If I prove to him enough that I'm not this, because he would always accuse me of being a cheater, being sneaky, which, mind you, in retrospect, now I know that he was cheating on me the whole time, and that's called projection. Tatiana, yeah, girl. Yes, we listen, as we get to know each other, you're going to hear all these stories. And so again, the lie that I was telling myself is, if I could just prove to him that I'm not sneaky and I'm not a cheater, then this will finally get this happily ever after that society promised me. So let me just morph and do whatever he says, because I allowed him to set the rules. because I wanted that relationship so bad because he was fine. I was 32 at the time, no kids, never been married. I was sick of people, you know, so many things and so many layers.
You
and
fall in
so
love with like the potential of the
that
relationship.
potential was strong. Yes, go ahead, Cameo.
Because I feel like what you're talking about, a lot of us deal with. It's that whole potential factor. Again, I think that goes back to the fairy tales, but also in terms of how we're groomed, this idea that they will change, not even for us, but that they're eventually going to evolve into this greater man, that maybe we'll meet a what's the guy's name? Because he just had an article in Exo Nicole, Ryan Coogler, and he talked about, that is the filmmaker for Black Panther, and he talked about how his wife believed in him in the beginning. But now, mind you, I didn't read the article. I just read the headline. That's what we tend to do. But the headline reminded me of, again, those same articles that tell women to stick around with the guy that has potential. Those are the stories that get lifted. Those are the stories. And then on the flip side of that, you hear this demeaning, almost violent rhetoric towards women, specifically Black women, when they choose to set their standards for, you need to be established. You need to have, you know, your ducks in a row. And so it's like you're in this in-between space. And because you want to be that loving person, because you want to be accepted by your peers, because you want to be right, and you do accept that potential. And you think, if I just wait a little bit, little baby Ryan Coogler gonna turn into big Ryan Coogler. But you really realize, brother ain't worked on the film since high school, you know. But I think that's a part of we are definitely taught to hold on to potential versus taking them and understanding them and even loving them exactly where they are.
Yep. So I want to hear from Carla and Tatiana about that. If you have something to say about that quote, I would love to hear from you. But before we do, I want to, Adriana, my cousin Dwayne said, you know what, it's okay, Adriana, you live and you learn. Just be sure to just learn, apply. One of the biggest mistakes I've seen women make is trying to change a man. Do not go buy a broken car and try to fix it. Buy a car that works. Listen, my cousin Dwayne, he up in here preaching. So shout out to a good man, a good cousin of mine, one of my male cousins. So Tatiana, do you need me to read the quote again? In fact, I will, just in case people are just tuning in. So the quote that we are dissecting and discussing is, you literally don't have to lie to women. If she likes you enough, she will lie to herself. And I want you to understand that we are not talking about 15-year-olds. I have clients who are 42. I have a woman in my Singleness is Not a Punishment group who is 62, and she just learned. So
some people never learn.
Some people never learn. So whoever is listening to this at the time that you were watching this, whether it's on the replay, whether you're listening on Single You, the podcast right now, I am not judging you. I've been there. And so that's why I understand you and I see you. And this is why God has put me in this position to be a light for single women, for the women who need to hear that singleness is not a punishment and that you are worthy regardless of your relationship status. So I don't want you to be embarrassed that you are 35 and you're still doing these things. What I want you to do is hear it and say, that is me, and now I need to change. And it's not enough to have knowledge to change. You actually have to apply. You only change by doing. And so I want this to be an open door for you to send me a DM if you're watching this or hearing this and you're like, I need some coaching. Because if you don't know, I am a coach, right? A certified coach, AKA the Single Girls Life Coach. And I help women discover their worth so that they can stop tying their worth and identity to men and stop being a man pleaser. So this is what I do. And with that, Tatiana, go ahead, girl. Shameless plug. Had to plug myself on my own platform because I just felt like the need. I don't want women to think that I'm judging them. I don't care how old you are. This could be happening to you right now. So Tatiana, go ahead.
Exactly. Like that was good what you said. You have to put that out there. Like, yeah, it's okay to unlearn. It's okay to take the L, because sometimes our pride will get in the way. And that's another form of self-deception that keeps us in these relationships with dusties, which is one of the words that have been floating around the internet the last year or so. I think this, even with the whole conversation about what a high value man is and what isn't, it kind of, it's like there's so many voices out there that are kind of like telling you what you should want. But if you don't do the work to know what it is that you really want and what you need and the God standard for a husband, you're going to have all these different voices in your head that will kind of confuse you, right? And kind of like deceive you to thinking that the person that's in front of you with his potential, but nothing's acting on it, like he's the one. And then on top of that, you add in our hormones, our emotions, our undealt with lessons from childhood. All those things can be voices to kind of keep us staying in something that God intended for us. I know I've been in a relationship like that before, and I called it getting too much of not enough. And I was just kind of like sticking around with someone who wasn't doing great on the communication tip. It was feeding a lot of the abandonment issues that I had in my life, and I didn't realize what I was dealing with on my own to really get a comprehensive look at why I was accepting that kind of behavior. So it's just a reminder to us all, like, doesn't matter how old you are, like, there's always something we can learn about ourselves. And that's the beauty about being single, because the more time you take to be on your own and to learn about yourself, the more you can have those revelations that God can give you, like, okay, wow, this is why I picked a guy like that. This is why I stayed longer than I need to. This is what I saw growing up. This is what I'm, recycling. And how can you break the cycle? How can you make better decisions? And God is not mad at us. He loves us so much. He wants us to get it right. So thank God for the Holy Spirit. Like, he's there to teach, correct, convict, not condemn, but to provide that guidance, like, baby girl, that's not the way. So, you just got to invite him into your walk, especially with the relationship thing. So yeah, that's what I would add to that.
And while you were talking, I was thinking of this pillow, the happiness over history pillow, right? Like, we continue. The reason why we will choose history over the reason why we would choose history over happiness is because we're lying to ourselves. It'll get better. 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 But if he's not showing you those actions toward it getting better, then we need to learn when to exit. And that's fair. That's your own understanding of what true character is. As Maya Angelou says, that I always say, when people show you who they are, believe them. And once we understand character and life, then we are able to see sooner rather than later, like, oh, okay. Kind of like what Carla did that we talked about last week, Carla, with you and your boyfriend that you have for 8 years. You were able to see almost immediately, like, oh, he's not growing with me. We're not journeying together. So this relationship is done. And not that you call him a bad guy. Every guy who's not for you doesn't mean he's evil or bad or it was an abusive relationship. Not everybody goes through what I went through, what Adriana went through. Not everybody goes through that necessarily. Like, that's not everybody's story. So I want you to understand, you watching this, that not every guy is for you. Not every guy. And not every guy is also bad. So Carla, what comes up for you when you hear that quote? You literally don't have to lie to women. If she likes you enough, she will lie to herself.
I think it's such a good quote, and it's real. And I feel like I just want to tell the women who are raising their standards, that when you raise your standards, you're going to have to block out a lot of these F boys, okay? You're going to have to block out a lot of friends. You're going to have to block out a lot of people who are going to tell you that what you're asking for is too much. And so then, because if you don't block them out, then that's when you are starting to lie to yourself about who this guy is. I always feel like guys go for exactly what they want. Like, a guy is not like, I'm going to, this girl, like, it could be like a crackhead on the corner, and a crackhead is still trying to holler at a woman. Like, you ain't got no teeth. Like, how you hollering at me? Like, no matter what, men have the audacity to go after whatever it is that they seek, that they want. But women, you know, we act like we don't have the audacity to go after what we want, and we settle. And then everybody is telling us that what you want is too much. Like, well, you can't get what you want. And it's like, no, we got like Kevin Samuels, like, you know, that dating coach. We got him talking all kinds of crazy rhetoric, and we are believing it. But when I say these same things to men, then they're looking at me like, oh, who do you think you are? And it's like, who do you think you are? Like, you are trying to come up into my life, disrupt my peace. Like, I'm going to have some standards and some boundaries over here. And I'm going to have to tell you, I'm going to tell your homeboy, I'm going to tell your mama, like, I'm going to tell all y'all. And I'm like, you can't tell me anything anymore. So I just want to say to the women that, you know, like, stop lying to yourself, and, you know, have the audacity that these men are out here having. Like, if they don't have anything else, they have the audacity. And yet we are over here acting mild, meek, timid, and not believing that we deserve all these things. And I know for me, I tell guys, like, look, I'm not dealing with that. I'm not going to deal with that. I'm not going to deal with that. Like, they're like, you're not going to find nobody with kids. Yes, I am. Like, not every man has kids.
Yes,
you know, like, what I'm asking for is not unattainable. It's just not you. And that's okay.
You know what? I love that you brought that up, because we were just having this conversation.
Yeah,
but
it's like my situation. Like, I have 2 kids. I come from like a broken home. I did not want to be like, you know, it's so hard enough co-parenting one set of co-parents. I didn't want to do it with another. So I wanted somebody who was single, but I also don't want any more kids. So I was like, this is something I want for my life. And like, if I don't find that, I'm okay with it, because I'll just wait until my kids are grown, and then I'll find someone who doesn't have kids, because I don't want any more kids and I don't want to raise any more kids.
Right.
And I actually have somebody who doesn't want kids, who accepts my children, and everybody told me, dude, you're not going to get that. That's too much. You're asking too much. And I was like, okay, well, that's what I want for my life. So if it doesn't happen, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I decided I wrote it down. We wrote down lists of like what we wanted out of a partner. And I wrote down, I want someone with no kids, who accepts and loves my children, and who doesn't want any more. And I got all of those things. So if I can get it, y'all can get it. Like,
yeah.
You get whatever you accept.
Right. And so that's why when Carla, you said have the audacity, because people would tell Des, like, how dare you? You already have kids, and you're looking for somebody.
They were like, that's a little.
Yeah.
But just.
Right. But what I love about your want, you knew, like, okay, yes, it may be harder, and I'm okay to wait till I'm 50 if I meet a guy, you know, at that age, and maybe his kids are now 25 or whatever.
Well, that's how much it means to me.
Mm-hmm,
like, I just know what that situation looks like. It's not something I want to do. Yeah. So, you know, and doesn't hurt to ask the, you know, God for it, the universe, whatever, you know, Buddha.
Yeah. And that's what we get a lot. Tatiana and Adriana and Carla and Cameo, we don't have any kids, and so I know for sure that me and Carla don't want guys with kids. And people will tell us that all the time. Well, you're 37, so everybody your age has kids. And I'm like, I'm looking at 4 women right now my age who don't have kids. So that means that there are men out there my age who don't have kids.
And I'm also children.
Right. And I'm also okay with never being married. Like, okay, if that's not God's will, cool, but I'm not gonna settle. I know my dogs, guys, they're like, they're under the computer, and I'm so scared they're gonna pull the plug and all of us are gonna be done. But anyway, okay, so we'll end on this because I told you guys that we would be an hour. So, and there's Thor. This is Thor. And he looks like Thor from Avengers, and that's how big he is.
And he's big and clunky like him too.
All right, so let's end on this, and then I'm going to pull up everybody's website because I want people watching right now.
Thor,
Thor, get down.
Chill, man.
Hold on. Okay, so we'll go around the room. Adriana, we'll start with you. I don't know if you had time to think on this, but how will you know if a man loves you? That's everybody's question. And then as you're talking, I'll be pulling up your website. Have you thought about that? Or are you in a space like, I don't even want to think about that right now because I'm living my single life and I'm cool. But how will you know if a man loves you? Somebody asked me that in Clubhouse yesterday, and I was like, ooh, that's so good. That's so good. So, yeah, so go ahead, Adriana.
Okay, so that's a great question. I have a two-part answer. So the first part is, of course, scripture-wise, it says, love is patient, love is kind, love is not boastful. So, when I compare him to what the Bible says that love is, then I will know that he is a man of love. However, currently right now, I'm working on loving Adriana. So I don't want to say I don't care if a man loves me, but that's not my focus. Like, my focus is, do I love Adriana? When I wake up, am I happy with me? When I look in the mirror, can I say that I love me? Can I say that I love, these new stretch marks? Like, I'm focused on loving me right now. So I can't really say that I can fully answer that question because I'm currently in a space of just loving myself and loving where I am in my journey and in my season. So yeah, that's not really a focus, and I really don't care. But if I was to ask myself that question, then it would definitely have to be compared that to scripture and what love is and what the Bible says the love is, and can he align to what scripture says? But currently, right now, I'm worried about loving Adriana. So Adriana doesn't care if a man loves her because Adriana wants to make sure that Adriana loves Adriana. So.
I love it. And that's okay, right? We're allowed to be in this space of like, I'm not dating. I'm cool. Like, I'm off.
Yeah.
We're not doing that right now. I'm not dating.
Yeah.
It's okay to be successfully single. Carla and I had this conversation last week, how she's like, she's super happy. And Carla,
yeah.
You're yourself, but you're super happy, but you're like, I desire a husband. That would be nice, but I'm still chilling. So I love that. So Adriana, I want everybody to know that you can reach out to her on actuallyican.com. This is your website. Tell me about one or two sentences about your platform, Adriana.
Yeah, so it's actually ican.net. Don't go to .com, guys. Well, you're fine, but it's actually ican.net. And it is, again, self-help and self-care and mental health. And so just truly eliminating the mindset of can't one young person at a time. So I am having that conversation about suicide, depression, anxiety, what that looks like, as well as how to just better take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically. So there's quite a few things on there. There is my self-help book, I'm All Right With Me. So truly learning to be okay with you and where you are in your journey. So like I mentioned, just being okay with yourself. And then there is also mental health and self-care resources on there. So download some resources, do some journaling, do that inner work. There's my book. And then also just weekly blog. So I blog again about my morning routine, about those red flags, self-care, mental health. So yeah, so that's actually ican.net.
We're geeking out on your photo. Desiree's like, is that her?
Girl, you are gorgeous.
Yes, I love it.
You're gorgeous just looking at you, but holy shnikes.
And this is Adriana's Instagram, if you wanted to reach out to Adriana. So, all right. So let's go to Carla. Oh, actually, let's do Cameo and then we'll go to Carla because I have Cameo's website up.
Everyone's so photogenic.
Right, exactly.
Oh my God.
So Cameo, the question is, how do you know when a man loves you?
So I wrote down two words, right? The two words I wrote down are sacrifice and priority. And I'm hesitant to be so confident in that because I think love looks different for different people. But when I think about, I heard this somewhere, it just resonated with my spirit, but it's just like when anyone sacrifices for you on any level, right? And I know this is it could be a platonic relationship, but when anybody sacrifices for you on any level, that's a form of love. And so also when we think of one of the greatest forms of love, For me, it was sacrifice. And I'm not saying he has to give his left arm, you know, for me to show me he loves me, but I think it's going to show up eventually somewhere in the relationship, that you are willing to do some things for the greater, you know, for I guess, for me to show that you sincerely care for me. I don't know if I like the phrase more than you care for yourself. But I think I get the sentiments that you really, really love this person. And you have their best interest at heart. And if you could help them without harming yourself, I think maybe with the exception of your child, you know, you would do that. And priority. I think priority shows love too. That you prioritize me. And so that's, I mean, just off the cuff, I think that's what I think about. I mean, I think about my love languages too, because if you just feed me sweet potato pies and you talk to me, I would probably fall in love with you in like 2 seconds. So
married to babies because you gave me sweet potato pie. I love it. I love it. What is your love language? You know, is it acts of service?
No, it's quality time.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, I've gotten in trouble, but it's quality time.
Right. And so that's why he could feed you and talk to you, because that'd be quality time. Look at that. I love it. I love it. All right. Tell me about who you are, Cameo. Let's talk about your podcast as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, go ahead.
Definitely. So my podcast is the Good Girl Podcast. It is a podcast that's redefining the good through uncomfortable truths. And we call those uncomfortable truths confessions. So every week we have someone on with a confession. And the image you see up, it was actually a guy Rika had mentioned. We had 2 guys on, and he was talking about his journey through manhood. And actually, we have a podcast that released today. The blog just didn't post yet. It's actually open in another window, so it probably should post momentarily. And we're actually talking about some things we talked about today. What was it? It was like, why women carry the weight of men's issues. That's the title of the blog. And I'm also the I'm also the founder of a nonprofit that serves teen girls, Grit, Glam, and Guts, ages 12 to 17. So yeah, that's who I am. And so if you have a confession or something you think we should talk about, feel free to hit that confess button on that first page, or you can subscribe to our podcast anywhere you find your podcast.
Can I just say, you look so much like Tracy Ellis Ross, like in that picture.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
I can see it.
I'm painting her right now for Rika.
Yeah.
You look a lot like her. It's beautiful.
And you know, that's my anchor. That's my girl. That's my auntie in my head. Listen, pattern is all. Okay. All right, Carla, now we can go to you. So how will you know if a man truly loves you? And hold on, all right, go ahead.
That's such like a loaded question. But if I had to describe it, I would like to say like comforts. I find comfort in him. And I find comfort in myself. Especially with, you know, like building this brand and really being very visible. I feel like a lot of people, men and women, can love Fly Carla as opposed to loving like Carla. Like, this is who she is. So when I am able to be completely comfortable, and I find comfort in you, I think that is going to be what I view love as. And then I like what Cameo said about priority. Yeah, like, am I a priority in your life? And I think that's love to me. Like, you are making me a priority in your life, and I feel it. I receive it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin Elaine says 53 with no kids. We out here. So that's just another pin in that. Don't let people tell you that you're too picky. You can get whatever it is that you want, but also have the mindset like, listen, if it's not God's will for my life, oh well, I am still worthy regardless of my relationship status. So, Carla, as I pull up your website, tell us how we can get a hold of you and what your website is about.
Yes, so I run the Fly Girl Guide, where I write about the best in beauty, fashion, music, food, and travel. It's a really good site for if you are into lifestyle, luxury lifestyle, the best music, fashion, how to broil lobster. I cook, I style. So the Fly Girl Guide is just a lifestyle website of all things fabulous, fly, luxurious.
You need to with the closet because we're trying to figure out Rico's style, and you have such cool style.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so so I'm a stylist and TV host. So I am Fly Carla on all social media platforms. So yeah, if you just are like into all things cool and fabulous, then definitely reach out to the Fly Girl Guide.
I love it.
Yes.
Great. Tatiana, it is on you, girl.
Nice. Let's see. How do I know that my man?
You know if a man truly loves you. I know it's so deep, and I definitely want to have this conversation again because I'm like, man, that is so deep. So yeah, whatever is coming up for you right now, go ahead.
I remember the song that Torrin Wells has called "Love Is Action." So I think about it like action. I like consistency. I like commitment. I don't want to hear your words. You know, the Bible talks about, I think it's James 1:22. Don't just be hearers of the word, but do. I need some follow through, you know? So the consistent, loving actions that show me like that you're here, that you're present, that, you know, those things will speak to me that is love, especially over time, because you can keep up and act for only so long. But yeah, after a while, you're going to get comfortable. But what happens when you are comfortable? Are you going to be a counterfeit, or are you going to be who you really are? And then we can like focus on building from there, you know? So I kind of look for that.
I love it. And if you approach it with data collection, you know, dating to me is data collection, and you take your time, that's when you can figure it out. But it's the falling in love with 2 weeks for me where I'm like, Wayne says, yep, he'll show you with actions that he loves you, not his words. And now I'm going to pull up your website. Okay, hold on. Okay, there we go. All right, tell us about who you are, Ms.
Yeah, so as you can see, Bliss for Singles stands for Black Love and Inspiration for Safe Singles, but I have a growing diverse readership, especially on Instagram. It's been great. So I like to talk about Black love represented in popular culture as well as from a faith-based perspective. So when I can, I like to publish a blog that talks about some stuff that would encourage singles. That is the goal, to encourage singles to embrace their relationship with Jesus so they can have better, healthier, long-lasting marriages. Because a lot of millennials, which is like in my demographic, in our demographic, we're either running into this issue where we're not finding the right people or in a certain amount of time, or we're not seeing enough healthy relationships that we can enter into. So definitely want to have those conversations. Most of the audience is women, so it can be a little women-centered, but I do hold us to task because there's some things we have to unlearn so we can get better and become who we're supposed to be, who we were designed to be.
All right. So
I have a
page over there.
Yeah. Wait, go ahead. That's what we were saying. Oh, hold on.
No, I'm just saying that's my personal page up there. But yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yay.
All of you women are so pretty.
Right.
I want a website.
We're gonna pull up Dez's Instagram as well. All right, guys. This is why I had all of you on the panel, because all of you are extremely dope to me. All of you are living a successful single life. a successful life with a boyfriend. All of you are amazing to me, and I hope that you watching, you got something from it. I'm gonna basically have the audacity to say that I know that you did. If you are watching in the replay, type replay in the comments. I get the notification, I'm still gonna see it, and I would love to know what came up for you. With that said, I know all y'all are on the East Coast, so I'm gonna let you go, and then Des and I will close it out. But is there anything else that we missed that you wanted to say in this moment right now?
I did want to say something because I heard all of your answers about how you know a man loves you. And I think they're all so important. All of those are so important. I will add one thing. For me, this is my first relationship in 7 years. I was single for 7 years. So for me, how I know that my person loves me is he respects my boundaries. And he listens to me when I communicate to him my needs in a relationship. He listens, and so, and then he follows through with action and consistency and all of the things that you said. But for me, that's how I knew the difference between a narcissist who's love bombing me and this man who is my person, is that he respects my boundaries. Because I've had all of those things that you guys said from a narcissist. But he did not ever respect my boundaries and never listened to my needs or wants in the relationship. So I just wanted to add that in there so that maybe like,
oh, I was going to ask you. I was just going to let them go.
Yeah, I wanted to tell them too because they were
right.
But yes, anything else you guys want to add? Because I just wanted to let you guys give you food for thought.
Oh, go ahead, Carla. Okay, go ahead.
I just want like the single ladies who are watching, just live your life, like, and have fun in the process. Like your life is more than your relationship status, and get to the point where you are healthy and whole, so that you can look at all relationships, all your interactions with men through a very emotionally healthy lens. Because I think that takes learning. I think that takes some maturity. But once you have gotten to the point that you are healthy, you are working through any blockages, you are working through any trauma, you definitely start to see relationships differently. And then you can actually have fun dating. Like you aren't leading with emotions. Like you are literally like, I know we had said before, like sometimes I just want to go out to dinner or bowling. It can still be fun and enjoyable when you are just healthy and happy and whole, and you are looking at it through a very emotionally mature lens.
Emotionally mature, I love that. And also get a dog, because they will keep you busy. My 2 dogs right now are here, right here. But anyway, again, thank you guys so much. We'll close it out with that, unless there's anything else you wanted to. Okay, unless there's anything else you wanted to say. But I really appreciate you guys, and we're gonna do more of this. So thank you so much for staying up with me. I appreciate you. Yes, hold up the pillows one more time, and then you guys can exit out if you want to, and then I'll close it out. But yes, so my pillows, this was, if you're just tuning in, my pillow launch party. Yay, Tatiana's is on the way. So if you're looking at her screen like, where's her pillow at? I didn't forget about her. It's on the way. But these are on sale now. These are on sale now, and I'm going to put the website on the screen. And with that, I will say goodbye to everybody. So bye, Tatiana. Bye.
It was so nice meeting
Carla
everyone.
and Cameo. And all right, so I just want to, first of all, thank Des for, hold on, trying to run this. It's so hard sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know how you're doing it.
Right, it's so hard sometimes. Okay, so anyway, all right, if you are watching this, please, again, comment, whether it's in the replay or right now. What did you take away from this conversation? Again, I know that I'm in a season to help you understand that singleness is not a punishment and that you're worthy regardless of your relationship status. So the website on the screen, please go to, okay? And you can purchase a pillow. They are live. They have a scripture on the back. It's my little message to you. So think of them as affirmations and for your home decor. And so I'm going to answer the question. That was a good answer. And you can add to it as well, Des, if you want to. When they asked me this question in Clubhouse, I was like, oh my God, I guess I don't really think about that. I know what I want in a guy.
I know that. Think about it.
So my answer is this. I know that I have a lot to learn about romantic love and what that looks like. Well, I'll say in a romantic setting. But for me, I will know that a man can love me because I believe love is a choice. It's an action word. For me in my life, I would want a guy who knows God. What that looks like, I don't know. It's not about him going to church every Sunday. That ain't got nothing to do with nothing. My abusive ex knew the Bible backwards and forwards more than I did because he grew up Jehovah's Witness and he still was trash. So it's not about that. But I need to know that he has a relationship with God. So I know that he will choose to love me in the way God asked him to. So I need him. That's the foundation of him. And then, of course, my love language is acts of service. So, you know, blah, blah, blah. But I just need to know at the core of him, his relationship, his first priority is his relationship with God. And that works for me. But it's something that I challenge you as a woman and a man, whoever's watching this, to answer. Yeah. How will you know if somebody loves you?
Well, and like we talked about this too with like how, like, I feel like it's also important to know like how he loves other people in his life and if he loves himself.
Exactly.
There's a big difference between I love you and I need love from you. And I think that's where it gets confused, is that people will think that they love somebody, but what they actually mean is that they need love from that person because they're not full of love for themselves. And I think one of the things I love about Anthony is that he is so full of love. He's like a puppy dog. Like he just wants to love everybody. And he's just a very loving person. And he's so full of it, it overflows. And, you know,
it's fun,
and it's the same with me. I just love everybody and it overflows. But then for me, the biggest thing is, just respecting boundaries. Because for me, that's the hardest thing for me, is to set boundaries. So if I'm with someone who doesn't respect my boundaries, and it's kind of a known thing in my house, you ask me 3 times, I'm probably going to say yes on the third because I just hate saying no.
Right. So. And that's good that you know that about yourself, right? Like if somebody keeps pressuring me, I'm going to do it. So I need a man who doesn't pressure me because I don't want it to become unhealthy. So that's beautiful.
I think it's going to be different for everybody because you have to know yourself and what 100%. Love looks for 100%. For you and what you can handle.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I love that. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you Desiree's Instagram. Again, she's my best friend, so I'm going to give her a follow. Okay. She's helping me with my business and she's been helping me with my business and I love it. So I want to honor her while she's alive. As they say, give them their flowers before they die. And I hate saying that word. I don't even, right. We're gonna be 115. What are you talking about? All right. So thank you so much for watching. If you are watching this on my Just Me Rika Inspires page or my personal Rika Robinson page, please share this video, please. By sharing, it lets Mark Zuckerberg know, oh, people want to watch this video. And that essentially helps me as a small business owner. And it's something that you can do for free. Literally just do it right now. So with that, we'll end with this. Thank you for watching. I'll be back next Wednesday, same time, 6 p.m. Seattle time. Go Hawks as always.
I won't make it easy for you now. You got 2 minutes of my time, and I don't really break too easily, but I'm worth it, 'cause I'll slip into your dreams tonight. Oh, so give me your all. I'll take it to Mars. Oh, I'll stick like glue inside your mind. Just watch me breaking. You'll swear you're falling into me. Touch me, I swear you would do anything that I want. So keep us awake till the dawn. Ooh, baby, real get to Mars. Oh, I'll stick like glue inside your mind. Just watch me break it. I swear, you're falling into me, touch me. I swear, you would do anything that I want. So keep us awake till the dawn. Baby, feel free. I wanna make you sweat on me.